Welcome, everyone, and welcome back from our tour. To those of you that went on the tour, to our Zoom audience, we did a 25-30-minute walk around the balcony, and we learned everything we need to know about how to treat water. And so there'll be a quiz at the end, and you'll get your cookie if you can pass those questions. I'm just kidding. You can have, please take all the cookies, otherwise someone else eats them usually. My name is Mike Potter, and I'm the Community Outreach Supervisor for Valley Water, and I'll be your MC tonight. Welcome to our first public meeting of 2025 for the Rinconada Reliability Improvement Project. It's an opportunity to share the progress and accomplishments that we experienced in Phase 4 to discuss what is planned for future construction activity. For how many of you is the first time you've been to one of these meetings? Or okay, great, that's fantastic, and we've learned a lot since we restarted this project, and we've heard from you. And so part of the reason we're having these frequency of meetings is to address the concerns and to provide opportunities for you to tell us what's going on in your neighborhood and around your homes. And so it's a critical project for Valley Water, and we appreciate all your feedback. We've expanded our team to accommodate this and many projects, but mostly this. One of our longtime public information representatives, who's been your community liaison, Tony Mercado, has retired in December, and so he's terrific. I've only known him since high school, so he is enjoying his retirement. 26 years at Valley Water. I'm not jealous, but out of the challenges of Tony retiring, Amy Green is now a permanent employee, a regular employee of Valley Water as our public information representative for this project. So welcome, Amy. She was here as a temp prior, so.
Welcome, Amy.
And
she has the same phone number?
And she has the same phone extension as Tony at the office. Not the same cell phone. That was Tony's cell phone, so he'll still probably talk to you about the project, but it's his personal cell phone number. So probably give him a break if we can. And I believe he's joining us on Zoom as well, because he can't stay away.
Her number will be provided.
It's in the materials, and it's the same phone extension as Tony Mercado, so that hasn't changed. And then also starting on Tuesday, Selena Garcia is going to be our new temp employee to help supplement the work and efforts for this project and other water utility projects. So, so this is a great timing on, and thank you to everyone at Valley Water for their help in onboarding 2 new people during this time. But they're here to be your resource and to answer your questions. And if they don't know it, they'll find out the answer. So we took to heart what you said at that first meeting. It's been a while now, but we want to make sure that as we go forward, you can find somebody to get the answer, or and they will get the answer from these folks here and explain it to you in language that we can understand. And we welcome to you online. This meeting is being recorded, so you can, if you miss it, or if everyone here too, if someone can't be here, they can rewatch it and catch up on what's going on, and you can hold us accountable to what is said at this meeting as well. So that's why we like the recordings. After this meeting, we ask that you fill out a brief survey. Those are super helpful for us. So if there's anything that you think we should do, and you don't want to raise your hand, that's okay. Just put it on the paper, and we'll take that to heart. Joining us this evening are 2 of our Valley Water directors, Director Nai Shwea, who had been here as our chair prior. She represents people who receive a lot of the water from this plant. And also joining us is Richard Santos. He's the vice chair of our board. He was first elected in 2000 to serve and represent District 3, which includes portions of Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, Alviso, Milpitas, Berryessa, and Alum Rock communities of San Jose. He's a native of Alviso, has volunteered in the community for many years, and is a retired firefighter. So he's going to provide a few opening remarks for us as well. So welcome, Director Santos.
Good evening. It is a nice night, and we're going to have some more rain, and we're all happy. So let me give you the Water District blessing. But before we get started, of course, talk about our other director, Max Shiva, was vice chair, was there last year. Had a challenging year. In her leadership, we did a great job. And also I want to make sure that I recognize others because they're all important. We have our chief operating officer, of all the water supply. That's Chief Baker. We have the deputy operating officer of all the plants. Yes, Sam Wagali. He just he just left. He gave the tour.
He gave it to her.
He did the talk. Then we have deputy operating officer Emmanuel Ari. We have the person that drove me up here to make sure I'm on time, is Lynn On. So with that, we're here to this, good evening, and we're here to discuss a significant effort to ensure Santa Clara County has a reliable, safe, clean drinking water supply. The Rinconada Water Treatment Plant has been a major player in delivering water since it was built in 1967. At 58 years old, the plant continued to do its job. However, Valley Water recognized the need to strengthen its operational ability to ensure that it continues its mission for the next 58 years. We recognize that having the construction in your neighborhood is not ideal. You're committed to keeping you informed as we move through the various construction phases. So with that, that means be patient. There's going to be a lot of work, the banging and some noise. But this staff does a great job to make sure it's minimized. We listen to you. We will learn today that the project is progressing with key elements being completed. We will continue to have this regular quarterly meetings and inform you all of the upcoming activities. As always, we welcome your feedback and questions. You can share further concerns through our commitment card or email the project's neighborhood liaison, which is our new employee, Amy Green. So folks, I can tell you this is the backbone. These folks do a good job. I've been 24 years here. I'm nearly retired. I've been working for 58 years. I enjoy what I do. You get water 7/24. I've never heard any complaints. Every stopped water. You've always had it. It's not just a blessing. It's the hard work the staff does. So they represent you. If you have any questions, ask them. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Mike back.
Emmanuel.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. My name is Emmanuel, I'm Deputy Operating Officer, and I'm in charge of the project and the construction management and construction side. I have staff here to help me. I have Brandon, who is the project manager. Then I have the construction, Dima and Lizzie. I also have the contractor here in case we have questions that I cannot answer. And then we have the CM representative also here.
And we actually also have some natural resources staff over there also.
Oh, yes, sorry, I forgot.
Can you repeat that for the folks on Zoom?
We have biologists, natural resources staff from Valley Water who are here to answer any questions you have. I think last time when we were here, people were asking questions about wood rat, some other plants and things, and we engineers don't know those things, so they are here to help us. All right, next slide. So today I'm going to go through the project objectives, and then I'm going to talk about phases 3 to 6. Then I'll give you some construction updates. And then we talk a little bit about some of the Navy's concerns that we are trying to address. And then I'll give you a timeline and then the project information that you need to be able to reach any of these. Next slide. So the project objectives, we talked about it. I think Sam also talked about it. It's the major ones are to upgrade aging equipment at this salt plant that provides water to the West Valley, to improve the reliability of the water supply, and increase the water production from 80 million gallons per day to 100 million gallons per day. Next slide. We started this project, we completed phases 1 to 2. I think Sam alluded to that. So right now we are working on phase 3 to 6. We've completed phase 3, which involved demolition of the clarifiers. Again, I refer to Sam because Sam showed you where the clarifiers were. And we also did some construction work. We did surveying around the plant, potholing, and then we developed traffic control because when you have construction work, there's a lot of movement around. And so in phase 3, we also did traffic control. We are now in phase 4, and in phase 4, what we are attempting to do, the contractor is doing, is we're going to build the ozone generation building, the liquid oxygen facility, and then we're going to build the filter building with all the media filters, and then the chlorine contact basin. And then from there, we'll move to phase 5 to 6. In phase 5 to 6, we'll be constructing the new chemical facilities. And after it's done, we will go into do the demolition of the filters and wash water recovery basin. I think Sam talked about it. And then when we are done, the contractor will demobilize and we'll make sure everything comes back. And below, you'll see the pictures of some of the facilities that I talked about. And I think we have them on boards placed outside. So as you were coming in or when we went on the tour, you see some of them displayed there. Next slide. So today, what I decided to do was to give you a recap because we've had different public meetings, and some of you were here, some of you were not here. So I wanted to do a recap of some of the things that we've already presented and done before. Construction is moving very, very quickly. So on the top pictures that you see, it's about the filters building that I talked about. So on the left, top right is the foundation being, excavated and being built. Then in the middle of it is the large filter pipe installation, the 66-inch pipe and the 48-inch pipe. And then on the right of it, the pipe concrete encasement. So after the middle, they build the pipes, they bring in concrete to encase the pipe into it. At the bottom is the chlorine contact basin. And you see, similarly, on the bottom is the foundation being built, excavated and being built. And then there was a lot of rebar or steel, which goes into the building. And so you can see that in the middle. And then they brought in the large piping, 84-inch pipe. I think when we were outside, we were talking about the size of the West Pipeline. And some of our pipes are very, very big. This is a 9-foot pipe. We can go in there and then look through. Next slide. So now let me go into the construction update. I've got like 3 or 4 slides showing the construction update as they are moving up. We completed the installation of the new filter building and then the chlorine contact basin. And then they started the installation of the actual filter building and then the contact basin concrete walls. And then they also brought in, as I showed, the large piping for the filter building. And at the bottom, I just gave you that we are also working on the lower pond storm drain pipe. I'll talk about it as we go further. Next slide. This is a picture of the new filters gallery piping. I talked about the filters building. It's a large facility and there are a lot of things, piping and other equipment which are going in. And so on the right, you see the pictures of some of the things that we're talking about. And as the construction goes on, you see construction equipment, you see concrete being laid, you see piping, you see all kinds of construction work that is being done. Next slide. Then now, you know, they've got into where they're building the walls and the deck. And so with the walls and the deck, as they build them, you know, they cover up the other pipes and things that they've done. And so when you go outside, I think right now you don't see the pipes because they're all covered with the walls and the decks. Next slide. And then similarly on the other side of it, I think on this side, you know, I don't know, on my right, that's the chlorine contact basin. They are also building the walls and the deck, and you can see the plywood and the thing and the rebars that they're using to build the walls and the deck. Next slide. So this was the one I mentioned in one of my slides, the lower pond work. They have started doing the trenching, and they're building the storm drain pipe in the east north lower pond. The contractor is doing that work, and my understanding is that the contractor has also been reaching out to the neighborhood and talking with the residents, and so that we minimize the noise, we minimize anything that they have concern with as we go ahead. The noise and vibration is very, very minimal. We expect to complete that work maybe by next month or the following May work. Next slide. And then we had a lot of questions on the planting, the vegetation on the other side, the landscape. And so we decided to give you a map of the trees and the vegetation that we are putting there. We started work because I remember when we did our first public meeting, there was a lot of questions from residents. The trees were dying, nobody was showing up, and so we addressed all the concerns. We brought the contractor on board, a new plant contractor to replant the trees, and then we did the new irrigation system. We also, after we finished doing that, we started maintenance, watering the plants, making sure the weeds are taken care of. And so this shows a picture of the tree. And when you look on the left, there's a legend showing the type of trees. It's made up of local, native plants, and then California plants. It's a mix of those, and that's what we're working on. And we also have the biologists and the plant resource staff here in case there are questions, because as I said, at our first public meeting, there was a lot of questions on this plant business. And so we just want to make sure we can answer your questions. Next slide. So as far as the project timeline, we started in fall 2023, and we are in phase 2. We are in spring 2025. Right now, we are on time. In some places, we are actually ahead of schedule. So we're doing very, very well. And we are now in phase 4, and we will be going into phase 5 to 6. We expect to complete this construction work somewhere late 2029. But I think right now we're about 1.5 years into the construction. Next slide. So we talk so much about the project information, where you can get your information, who you can contact, and so we are making every effort so that you have people that if you have questions, you have concerns, you can reach them very, very quickly. Right now, Amy and the temp intern they are the main contact, and then you can also go to our website. They continuously update the website, and then we also do posting on other social media, and we make sure. And so when you reach them, if it's an engineering question, they will come to us. If it is a question about plants or the wood rot, they will go to experts who are next slide. So I just want to inform you or introduce you to our capital improvement project. I know that when we were outside, there were some questions about our pipeline, and Aaron was explaining that we have the pipeline reliability program. All those fall under our capital improvement program, which we present to the public, we present to the board. We do a 5-year CIP. I think right now we are in the stage where we are going out to the cities to inform them about our capital projects that we are planning for the next 5 years and get input from them, because sometimes they align with their general plans, and they also have other plans that they are doing. And so we encourage you to tune in, and if you have any ideas or any questions on things, so that we make sure the public is involved and we take the public's feedback. Next slide. Similarly, we also are working on a water supply master plan. We've been holding public meetings, and you can tune in and listen and be informed about what we plan to do. And we listen to the public's concern and ideas and things that the public wants us to put in our master plan. Next slide. I think that's the end of my presentation.
So far. But don't go far, because we may have some questions for you, I suspect. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for this presentation, and for that input on information about the schedule. So far, so good is I think where we would put it, right? We don't want to. We're not going to jinx anything. I'm knocking on wood and throw salt over my shoulder. The slides that you saw tonight are available on our website already. So if you wanted to check those out or share them or review them, you can do so. For those on Zoom, you can just put your questions in the Q&A box or raise your hand and we'll unmute you. This is a complicated project. It's more complicated because we're still operating a water treatment plant in the middle of a construction project. So sometimes the stuff that the construction side is doing is over here, but then as a part of our operations, we're over there, and that's impacting you too. So our staff here are available to try to, if we can't find it out from the construction side, we'll find it out from the operations side. And with that, we're happy to hear your questions, and I'll go ahead and call on you.
To what extent are your operations, and particularly the projects that you have in mind here, dependent upon federal funding?
To what extent, so for those on Zoom, what extent do our projects here rely on federal funding? We'll bring our chief up for that.
Roll the dice.
This particular project, the Rinconada Reliability Improvement Project, is funded primarily by water rates, and so there is no federal funding for this particular project. We do have, of course, Valley Water has a very comprehensive capital improvement program, and there are federal funding in some of those other projects, mostly on the watershed side, so that there could be some possible impacts there, but we have an aggressive team understanding what it's going to take to make sure we can backstop any of those issues. But for this particular project, the federal funding is not an issue.
Thank you, Aaron. Great question. Any other? Yes.
Well, I live right at the bottom of the hill, and I haven't noticed anything that's affected us at all in terms of your work here. So I'm just wondering, is there something that's coming up that I should be concerned about?
Okay, so I want to repeat that because I haven't noticed much impacts from construction, but is there something you're not that's coming up to surprise you? Well, how long have you lived in the,
Over 30 years.
over 30 years? Okay, well, that's great to hear. I don't know that all of your neighbors could say the same. So thank you for your patience for those of you that are impacted. But the next phases might be closer to you as we work out there, but it might have been that you were near phases 1 and 2. And we're happy to point out the map and figure out what's coming. But this new round, we have worked really hard to eliminate the beeps on the backup of the cars. Brandon and the team have gone out to meet personally when folks have questions or want to know what this is going on here. So I see some heads nodding. So that hopefully, if there's anything coming up, we'll be able to get you information about it beforehand. But Manuel, I don't know if you have more to.
So far, I think so far so good. If you are not hearing any noise and this thing, like I described, we are trying to make sure, the noise is as minimal as possible. And we will continue that. And so if you're not hearing any noise or vibration or getting anything, that's how it's going to continue. Now, if things change, like he said, we will notify you before anything happens. But that's the way we are doing the construction work right now.
Much bigger problem with teenage boys on motorbikes.
As a former teenage boy, I can't probably should never say never. But if you've been wondering why you've been hearing so many ducks in the area, those are, instead of the backup beeps, that's the sound that a lot of the vehicles make. Shifted to ducks. But thank you for that comment, and we'll keep you posted as we move forward. You had a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
You had all those chlorine basins. Is that just to hold chlorine to add to the water? Or does he have to worry if they break, is he's gonna be inundated with chlorine?
Great question. It's about the chlorination basins.
So this is part of the tool where we have quizzes, right? So I mentioned that we use chlorine, to disinfect the water. Right? So even though we call it a chlorine contact basin, so for the chlorine to be effective, the water needs to be in contact with chlorine for a certain period of time. So just water, just the chlorine will go through it, but it's not the chlorine itself, right? So just the drinking water, for us to ensure the water is safe, it has to remain in contact with chlorine. That's why it's called chlorine contact basin.
Oh, that's very helpful.
Maybe Sam, you could just mention that yes, there is chemical chlorine in other places, but they have all sorts of containment fields and alarms and everything else. And maybe you could just say about the chemical facilities, the upgrades that we're doing there.
Yes, just also to repeat to people on Zoom. So we're trying to follow up on the question. So are there any concerns about, because it's a treatment facility, so we have chemicals on site. So by regulation for each chemical and each process system, we have what we call a double containment. So for the chemical system, the chemical tanks, so we have a containment that holds 150% of the tank volume. So if there is no rupture, if nothing happens, so that's contained in that area. So there is no concern or damage, to the neighborhood. So this facility is what we call zero discharge facility. So everything that we process here is returned back to the headwork. So we don't discharge anything offsite. Yes.
Why Canary Island Pines?
Question about. So that was a question about the landscape. Why Canary Island pines?
Before you answer
Yes.
that, would you mind putting back the slide that had the vegetation?
Sure. Go to the vegetation slide.
Yes, please.
Come on down.
Can you tell us which road is more there?
More is over here. Lower Moore entrance, and then this is Capistrano and Granada. And the Canary Island pine is this one here. I'll let you respond to the why.
So we kind of took on this project a little bit
Real
later.
close, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Michael Wood. We kind of took on this project a little bit later, but we did not design this revegetation plan. As to why they chose Canary Island pine, I'm not quite sure. But there are a couple native species as well, like the coastline oak tree. So I don't have an answer for that, but we can get it for you.
That'd be great. Yeah.
The other thing is you do not have on this map the steep slope that is to this side, to the right. All of that was, it's behind the legend. And there was a lot of planting there that mainly died. I think, was it Brandon was talking about it, that replanted it? What did you replant?
Give it to Brandon.
Thanks for that question, Martine Brennan, say capital engineering manager. Those are replanted with oaks.
So you're saying the whole hillside there, and you're talking about putting water piping back in,
Yes,
burying it,
it's
burying,
irrigated,
buried.
and we check it monthly as part of our plant establishment.
Just a related question, is it part of your responsibility as well? Is it also water value district? The area she's referring to?
Yes, Valley Water was the ones to reinstall to replant the oaks, and we are.
They're all dead, they're all dead, as she correctly says, nothing much is happening there.
Oh, so there were oak trees there before that didn't survive during COVID. And so we went and replanted the oak trees.
We don't see the replantation unless, we're referring to a different area, but all what she described, they're all dead. There's nothing happening there.
Are you talking about the hillside or?
I'm talking about the hillside, and then it comes in around, and your property goes around the corner and up that dingle.
So on the hillside, they are still alive. I mean, they might be dormant because it's winter time, but we have an inspection team that's been going out monthly to make sure that there is a higher survival rate this time around.
They're at the sapling stage, so they're pretty small.
You're on the mic, they're still early.
They're at the sapling stage, so they're pretty small. You're not gonna see any huge growth for quite a long time. So you're just gonna have to be patient. It's probably gonna at least be 10 years until you see any really good growth out there.
Especially if they're valley oaks, blue oaks, it takes some time to become time dormant. Those live oaks, the leaves will stay on. And I'm sure the irrigation is temporary until they get established, grow big enough, and they're native species, so they should be able to sustain on their own. So roots get down into the soil.
So on the south side, which you can't see on your map, are you going into that dingle, clearing it out at all, or are you leaving it as is? South side is not on that map. You have a bunch of property at the bottom.
It's right there, upper Moore entrance is right there. The little circle, is that what you're referring to?
You have property further down.
You have an aerial view of the whole thing. That way.
I think she's talking about the south.
See where you put your legend, there's a lot of area which is.
You're talking about this area.
Further down and in, there you have a bunch of property there that abuts the end of Big Mill Road.
I'm not aware that we're doing any replanting there, but we can look
Are
into
you
it.
clearing things out? No, we don't want anything planted. We just want it left as is. And I was just wondering whether you have plans to do anything there.
I'm pulling up a picture for everyone.
Well, we can, yeah. We're really happy Walter's here today. Those are the oaks, or what is that?
So, yeah, this is the hillside we were talking about with the replanting of the trees.
I'm not talking about that, but that's okay. I can talk to somebody later.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
All right. If you have a map of the area, that or.
Walter, can you pull up Google Earth?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do that. This was not in the rehearsal, so I'm really happy Walter's here. That's okay. It should just take a second. And we're gonna pray for rain so those trees establish and take root and grow. We were in a drought. Just to be clear, the trees that did not survive did not have COVID. It was during COVID that they did not survive.
While keeps saying that, maybe.
Sure, yeah, while we're doing that, any other or additional questions? We can drill down.
Just wondering, what type of soil are you dealing with? A lot of digging going on as well. Are there rocks there, or what kind of soil?
Yeah, for the landscaping or for the project?
Actual construction.
For the project itself, what kind of soil conditions are we hitting when we are doing excavating for pipelines and for the pipes and things?
Excuse me, it's mostly been native soils from the area. It's all really good material. No hazardous materials in it. Excavates all around.
I'll just repeat that for folks on Zoom. It's just native soils, not running into too many rocks or hazards or anything. It's just what we expected.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what we'd like to hear. And here we go. So can you go to the layers one here? And then zoom out a little bit more. Okay. Your question was about a dingle, and I'm trying to figure out where that is. And this is the golf course. Here's the, okay, so down here or along here?
This right along
the
here,
pond.
right
Okay,
along
okay.
there, and we left as is. Because there's a lot of habitat.
The larger trees.
Yes,
Area,
this,
okay.
this area is a
So
dingle.
these are the replants. You can see
Yes.
that. Those are maybe the dead trees. I don't know when this picture was taken. Okay, so I don't know that we have plans to. I shouldn't say anything. Do we have plans to change the established trees in that area?
So there's a fence going in there, a replacement of a fence.
There's a replacement of a fence that we're doing, but we don't.
Is there any way to chat to somebody about that?
Yes, we can absolutely connect with you offline. Amy and Brandon are at your disposal. But we'll schedule time for you to connect. Okay. And get you the specific answer to that question. You had a question, ma'am.
Reach this guy over here said he'd give.
Oh, we're gonna coordinate. When you have a question with somebody, you could go right through Amy. And Amy will connect you with. Oh,
Michael Wynn.
this is Michael Wynn.
The company that you Valley Water.
Valley Water.
Megan from
They had
here. We're both out.
They're on Valley Water team, so they'll be the ones coming out. Keeping an eye on things. Okay, thank you for that. That's a great question. Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier that the wildlife people could talk about wood rats. I didn't think that had anything to do with you. But
There was a question about wood rats at the last meeting and we all looked at each other like we don't know anything about them. So we wanted, if anyone has a question about wood rats, the folks that
I
might.
didn't think it had anything to do with you guys, but maybe it does. Anything you could advise about how to deal with that would be helpful.
The rats that you're likely seeing the rats that you guys are likely seeing at your own property are Norway rats. They're pretty large, and they thrive in an urban scape. We're here for wood rats, which are a native species, and they live in little wooden lodges that they make out of sticks. And they're mostly on the south side, underneath all of those oak plantings, and we have little wood rat middens that they have created, and they're all right there. So you shouldn't be seeing wood rats in your house. They're actually pretty cute.
Those aren't the rats.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The Norway rats are a little ugly, pretty big.
Thank you for that. And yes, we protect the native plants and animals, and we encourage you not to protect the ones that are invasive. Okay, other questions? That was a good one.
What about Zoom?
Any questions on Zoom?
We have not received any
Okay.
questions. on Zoom.
Well, we'll still be able to be here for a bit if you think of one or,
Can you give Amy's phone number and?
oh yeah, let's go to the final slide.
One slide.
There we go. There it is. Very familiar, 2342, all Valley Water Fund numbers in Colonel are 630, so 2342. And ping her. We've got a newsletter that we're going to be sending out shortly with a recap of this as well. And so, and that'll have additional information on how to get her email and all that as well.
Actually, the question is, when is the vegetation planting going to start?
When is the vegetation planting going to start? The revegetation, I think it's already been planted. Yeah, it's there. We're just keeping them alive for several years, right? It's a 3-year plant establishment, several years. Yes, Director, Vice Chair. There you go.
There's a person here that asked about the federal money. Yeah, the chief gave a good answer, but here's the deal. We have a government relations section. They apply for every funding we can get, whether it be state, whether it be federal, be propositions, whatever legislation we can do. So we're always open to everything. This staff does a great job continually trying to get grants. When you run a good clone shop, you're usually available. And we do.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Well, yes.
Question, not about the construction, but about, you said, you guys also control flooding. Haven't heard any comments about that.
Valley Water is a unique agency in that it has responsibility for, as a wholesaler for water for this county, but also for flood control. And so it's unique in the state. And so this is focused on this meeting is focused on the plant here. So, and that's sort of there's a different chief for watersheds. And so we have lots of meetings on those, but the Coyote Creek, for example, the Upper Guadalupe River, a number of flood control projects.
Right. And valleywater.org. If you have any questions about flood risk reduction or other things in that particular, valleywater.org, and there's, or even Amy could get you into the right, if you have a particular project or anything about our flood risk reduction programs, or even our water conservation programs, or other things in that particular.
And I would say that there's a program that a group within External Relations Affairs does that is a water ambassador program. So if you have some time and you really want to learn more, you can apply to become a water ambassador, and they go as a cohort through trainings, and they will get a presentation on watersheds, water utilities, all the different things, and tours. It's a great kind of a 1-year program with a group of 10 or 15, 20 people. And then at the end, you get to be called an ambassador. So that's a pretty good deal too. Yes, sir.
Mention about you're ahead of schedule as far as time is concerned. What about the money funds?
Slightly ahead of schedule on timing, but what about the funding? How are we doing on the cost for this project? That's not my question.
Just like the schedule, we're doing very well on the funding. As my boss explained, the funding is from the water rates. And so money has been allocated in the capital improvement program, which has been approved by our board of directors.
How much are we talking about? What is the
cost of this project?
Yeah, the raw cost is around 700 million.
700 million?
Phase 1 and 2 as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for that sobering answer. Okay, anyone else for the good of the cause? Well, thank you for our presenters and Bellwater staff for this their work this evening, and to our contractors who are doing such a great job, and to our audience for your feedback. Your input is important to us. Please look at the survey cards and get them in to Amy. As this progresses, we'll continue to inform you with regular updates on the project webpage, through newsletters, social media, all kinds of things. We'll try not to spam you, but we will. We try to do put all the information about concrete trucks and deliveries in 1 or 2 emails a month. So those are timely and relevant. And I want to thank you for the new folks who are here tonight, and then for the regulars, thank you for sticking with us. And Amy will be able to talk to you outside, and I don't know if we have cards for her. I just thought of that. So we'll be getting cards for the next meeting. And so before we close, thanks for everything, and we'll see you soon.